Hi guys, welcome to my temporary mobile studio. Best I can do at the moment until situation improves. And this is my YouTube channel. It's been going for 20 years now, as you saw the video I posted was it a month or two ago, where I officially passed 20 years on YouTube. And I thought I'd do something similar to a Q&A video. I'm going to read in my voice, although car distractions and bus distractions. What the fuck are you doing here? Woosah, woosah. I've been thinking of doing a Q&A vid if I can. And what I'm going to do is read a bunch of my comments from my channel, which I've sourced and put on little screens that I can read from is the best way of doing it. I was thinking printouts, but then that became too much of a kerfuffle. I really need an FTP site to upload some of my files to the internet so I can download them when I'm out, sort of thing. But anyway, yeah. I thought I'd go back like 5 years ago, seemed like a good time, because I must have so many comments on my channels from the 20 years. I just went back like 5 years and I got tons of comments from that. Yet still I don't have as many comments as other people. I'm a very small time channel. So I'm thinking I'm going to read the comments 5 years back from various people who commented on my vids. If I responded, I'll respond the same response in my voice. If I didn't respond, I'll respond now. And I'll try and get through them all. And then after I'm done, I'm going to ask you guys for questions down below in the comments. If you watch this video, please leave questions for what you think of my channel, what you think of my videos, what do you think is my best video, what's the direction you most like in my channel. Obviously, I do travelogues where I'm hiking and camping and going places. I do political videos, freedom advocacy, my ANCAP videos and such, libertarianism, that sort of thing, commenting on the terrible state of the world. I've done my audiobooks, which I'm quite proud of. I've done several H.G. Wells audiobooks and a couple of other ones. And yeah, there's lots of other sorts of videos on my channel. You've got the gaming videos. A lot of them I did with Maddie, where I play Battlefield 1 predominantly, and videos showing my level design and my art, and then just topic vlogs as well, just showing my views on the world and every subject in general that I'd like to chat about. I put stuff up. And yeah, I guess the stuff that isn't to do with me but is just me showing stuff I like is like the modern trailers and things like that. But I do have film and game reviews and even book reviews on my channel, so I got reviews. So tell me which of those directions you like the most. And I'm not going to say I'm just going to magically go with whichever one you say you like the most, but I think it will have an impact if people say that they like a certain thing that I'm doing more than other things. Obviously that's going to have an impact on me, and I'll look at that and go, oh, okay, so you like some of my audience likes this a lot more than this, and you know, that will adjust my focus towards that thing a little bit. Anyway, I put it to you to ask me some questions in the comments, and if you do, I'll do a follow-up video to this one where I answer those new questions. But for now, I'm going to answer old questions from 5 years of my 20 years on this channel, starting with the furthest back, 5 years ago. Davey1602 on my masculinity and femininity, the old video, equals effective terms, says, I reckon Darwinian evolutionary theory is very important in how we act, grow, and teach. Even other male apes are drawn to mechanical toys, while females prefer dolls. That gives wider implications on protecting, nurturing, and inventing. Regarding meritocracy, there is no better way to bask in your spoils from competitive pursuits. I wouldn't call Bill Gates an alpha male, but he has amassed an enormous legacy simply by stealing ideas and putting them to work. There should always be some sort of social safety net for the less fortunate, But these social programs also have a tendency to be overused. I'm thinking of unemployment benefit and National Health Service. Right, I'm not in favour of welfare and benefits. A lot of these comments will be commenting on, like, the older things I was saying, especially in that video. You were talking to an older form of me that believed different things. You know, I've since redone my masculinity and femininity video, highlighting the things I thought are different now to back then. But yeah, welfare, social safety, social security, civil service, public sector, all these things are paid for by taxation, which is theft. Don't agree with that, unfortunately. Social Darwinism is different from Darwinism, and he's highlighting that there are differences between the sexes, even in apes like chimpanzees. So yeah, I suppose that's a possible mental difference between men and women, but how much can you compare a chimpanzee with a human? It's a little different, maybe. On my modern trailers clips, the old trailer for the Tudors, which is The Horse Dream, I think, and Henry Dreams of Death. We got someone who, it's cut off right here. God, should I read it if it's cut off? It says, anointed by God to rule. And then someone replies to that person called Cozy Asher going, laughing my fucking ass off. So there's that. Lita Keita says on my Dartmoor China clay mine video, you see a clay mine, I see an all-you-can-eat buffet. We are not the same. Yeah, I think we're not the same. Tasty clay. I mean, what? That's me. And then they reply again, yes, clay is delicious. So I guess we got a few clay eaters watching the channel. Note to other viewers, might not want to eat clay, but I mean, do what you want, you know, pick your own poison. Yeah, eat clay if you want to. On my video, the Teque Cleave Walk plus TC Tours Attempt 2 from July 2020, Sky Huan 110 says, was 1926 the first ever helicopter to land on top of a mountain, brackets Helvellyn? Thank you for that fact. I didn't know that. I'm not sure what you were responding to in that vid to say that, but that's interesting. On my video, more rant 0.25, old guard anti-SJWs overtaken by KBFers over mask mandates. Crypto Boo Boo replies, 1 million Germans took to the streets, hun. Me? 1 million? Holy fuck. That's great. I think we had that much in the march against the war on Iraq here. And Crypto Boo Boo replies again, didn't do us much good. He ignored us all and went in anyway. Still not arrested yet. Yeah, that is true. Tony Blair ignored the Million Man March protest against the war on Iraq. That's why I think protests don't work. They do nothing, and you have to do more than protest. On Camping in a Storm, Tent Destruction, Blink Space Studio 8892 says, nothing like a good humbling. Be proud you got through that experience. I love camping, but man, that was horrible. But you will learn from it. Me? Cheers, Suze. I think it was all in all a fun experience. I did want to try storm camping, I just didn't realise my tent was terrible for it. As I say, the walk back was fun. On Winter Tour and Hire Tour, Gina Sigurd, who used to work in my family's business, says great. On the same video, Sky Juan 110 says superb footage, nice weather for walking. Thanks. Yeah, that's a nice area. On Peak Hill's second visit, brackets bees, Sky Juan 110 says beautiful day for it, looks like an amazing place to visit. It is a nice place to visit. I would say I've been there a lot. I've been there very often. Peak Hill, Sharpetor, Leathertor region. I think I've been to Sharpetor too often, especially with my dad. It's just one of those ones we always picked because it was a short distance from the road. You can climb a nice tor a very short distance from a car parking space if you go to Sharpetor. And been there too much for that reason. And I got a little bit of a YouTube celebrity contact here on Winter Tour and Hire Tour video again. We got Summit or Nothing, who is Trev. Nice little video, was a good day to be out on the moors. but wasn't it busy? And I think he commented there because I mentioned to him that I think I saw him in that video walking up ahead of us doing a Patreon walk. I respond, yeah mate, it was a bit, eh? People enjoying the last sun and bank holiday of summer, I suspect. Still nothing like how Haytor area gets. Yeah, Eastern Moor is more populous and crowded than Western Dartmoor. On my gaming video, realism mode ruined noobs, bus simulator. Dude gamer, dude who plays game, says awesome video. Alright, thanks, and I love your username. Let's say that again. Dude gamer, dude who plays game. Good thing you made that 5 years ago. If you made that today, I would think, is this like an AI account? On Peter Tavey to Cox Tour Hiking 1 from October 2020, a girl gone wild UK who is also a hiking YouTuber says, it was really great to watch your video. It's been a year actually, since I have been to Dartmoor. So it was a real pleasure to watch. I really like nature hike tents. I'm looking for another now for winter, so let me know how you get on. All the best, Anna. I respond, cheers. You've got a decent travel hiking channel yourself. Winter months are coming, so I'm not sure how much actual camping I'll be doing until spring, but I definitely am looking for stormproof tents for the tours / coasts. Nature hike doesn't seem too bad for the price. And a girl gone wild UK responds, thank you. I love winter camping. It's cold, tough and miserable at times, but a great challenge and beauty amid the battle through the different weather conditions. Yeah, that was around about when I was testing out, I think, the Cloud Peak by Nature Hike, which is my current tent, with its triple dome structure, which should be stronger against the storms, and it's been good so far. A little bit heavy though. On hiking the GWR Princetown branch, Max Piper, Tallbagger Max Piper, friend of the channel, says, great video. MS stands for milestone, and those elongated stones are the core bells for London Bridge. A revisit to them rough tours is on my to-do list. All the best, Max. I had to ask him what ATB meant. Everyone was saying ATB. I was like, what the fuck? It's like an ATM machine? No, it's all the best. And yeah, that London Bridge is interesting. It was built in London. Parts of it ended up in Dartmoor, and the whole thing was transported to America, to Arizona, and rebuilt. It's a crazy story. Some rich guy went like, I want that entire bridge that's in England, but I want to move to my American state. I think he just did it. Oh, and here's me asking about ATB. Again, on the same video, a girl gone wild UK says, what a gorgeous walk, especially through the woods. It did look like there were some fantastic camp spots. On my very first trip to Dartmoor, I camped on Sheep's Tor. It was great. You had some lovely weather. I'm always cautious of cows, especially if they are with their young calves, because that's when they are likely to attack. That was a great way to split rocks. Looked like it would take a while. That was interesting. Nice walk, I enjoyed that. Or ATB Anna, and it's me responding back then, noobish me. Cheers, what's ATB by the way? Another commenter mentioned that, yeah, Burrator and Sheep's Tor area would make for an excellent camping spot. I try not to get too close to the calves if I can. A girl gone wild UK responds, ATB is short for all the best. Don't worry, it took me a while to pick things up too. My camera's probably going to get hot. On my thoughts on Rocky 5 review, Melody Groove Junction writes, I don't get it. Why would Adrian tell him he's a jerk? Didn't she always like him since the first one? I respond, I'm not quite sure. I think maybe she changed her mind over time or something. The character had odd motivations throughout. On stream number 8, Weta book review, Dano Cordor writes, did you ever want to or / play Alien Isolation? I respond, yeah, I played Alien ISO. There's a couple of vids on it on my channel, and give a link. Dano Cordor comments again, yeah, I really enjoyed the War of the Worlds series. That's my audiobook videos. I'll give this a go at some point. I hear you on the vocal variations too. It's one of my reasons for trying stuff out. Were you listening to those other variations on LibriVox? I particularly like early ghost stories. M.R. James Camilla by J. Sheridan Lefanu 2. Anyway, and me, I heard of LibriVox, but I was listening to stuff on YouTube, to be honest. There's a bunch. One might have name-dropped that company or biz, though. I might have a look at that. So I think in that stream I'm referencing my new audiobooks that I was doing. Probably The Time Machine. And he comments... Hold on, there's a different one. On stream 9, Cold Headache Stram, Dana Cordor comments, "Hahack! Being interviewed by a xenomorph, you don't run, but you do still scream and calmly walk around?" Me. It must be a true H.P. Lovecraft moment. He went mad just at the sight of the monster. On stream number 10, Informative Warcry stream, Dana Cordor comments, at 23:10, 8088, you motherfucker! I respond, yeah, I think it's meant to be Rust Bucket, but your version sounds better. On Walkham Woods, December 2020, Torbagger Max Piper says, "Nice one, great area. I would suggest you have another look at the Tours of Dartmoor map, as there are many other tours around the Walkham worth visiting for your Western Line." And I believe I have now, seeing as that's basically complete. Took a while. That was 5 years ago. On Moorland 1, lockdown rules increase again. These were dark times. A Girl Gone Wild UK says, "Completely agree. I've done the research like yourself. I'm truly sick of it. I'm frustrated and it's a living nightmare. On the brighter side, you have some lovely scenery where you are. Walking, great place for a good rant, lol. I really can't wait to get out of the city and back under my tent in some wet, windy or sunny green surroundings. Take care, Anna." Me. Thanks a lot. You're seeing some sense there, especially for people who live/walk/have homes in the country or like to go there. We're in a bad way. I got my new tent recently, and know others who have too. On stream 21, the stream of the Orchid Scoffers, Dana Cordor says, "The mystery of the repeat rune was tied to an oxygen death just after Sea Life Seek and Destroy at 1 hour 13:28. Some cruel timing on it happening just as you went into the locked glyph tunnel though." Okay, this is about Echo the Dolphin. Walkthrough tips. He continues, "And there being absolutely zero UI to explain you died. Of course, don't make them like they used to." I respond, are you saying some kind of bug sent me back to the place I'd already been? Well, that sucks. Does it continue repeating or only happen once? Yeah, great oldies. And Metallica ramblings. Dana Cordor responds, "Just saying you ran out of O2. It coinciding with the tunnel made it seem like a narrative deal, I guess." This is me having an argument with someone who, I don't know, they expected more from a video, I guess. On Camping in a Storm, Tent Destruction again. The Nix 333 says, "I was on the edge of my seat, and then you stopped filming. I don't enjoy listening to people explain an experience. Too much talking. Could have been a brilliant video. Sorry." And I just read my responses as is at the time. Dude, if you were in that storm, you wouldn't have been able to film either. Talking and communication are the most important thing we have. Pretty pictures are shallow. If we lose our speech, then we lose everything that really matters. The Nix 333. Maybe wild camping is not your thing, lol. You did say as soon as you got there, I could be sat at home watching TV, lol. It's the thrill of wild camping that people love. The wilder the better. Also, dude, if you don't like a bit of weather, maybe wild camping is not for you. Communication is important. And I 100% would have filmed that storm if I was in it, as I have already done many times. A bit of wild weather doesn't put me off in fact, I love it." And I respond, "When did I say that? I don't own a TV. Haven't done for years. I doubt I said that. If you watch my video through to the end, you know I enjoyed the experience and wild camping is my thing. None of that event was filmable, wasn't possible. If you've filmed in a night storm many times, put it on your YouTube channel. Don't complain at me for not making videos the way you like it. Do your own thing." Camera heat check. Douse it in water again. Car. On the Slipperstones, upper via Branscomsloaf, from April 2021 now, Gina Sigurd 1048 says, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. I respond, yeah, just squelching in between the hillocks. On High Tour Guesswork video, Out and Out Exploration says, laughing face, crying face, laughing face, crying face. Sorry, but how can you not find High Tour? It's that massive white thing next to the river. Cable car station at one entrance. I respond, lol, cable cars on Dartmoor? If only we were that grand. Yes, it does have a very deceptive name for something so meagre. Out and Out Exploration responds again. Smiling face, laughing face, crying face, shocked face. Oops, different High Tour, lol. I was watching Matlock Bath videos and yours came up. High Tour in Matlock is around 400 feet. 400 feet? Not sure if he meant meters or what, but yeah, he mistook my Dartmoor video for a Manchester video. It's alright, dude. There's a lot of places in England that share the same name, but they are completely different places. Check out how many sharp tours there are on Dartmoor, for instance. ASX! On Camping Sheep's Tour, tour bagger Max Piper says, great camp, Tom. Don't worry about the disappearance of the narrow tour cross. It only goes up every Easter and is temporary. I am yet to see it. Must go at Easter next year. The lighthouse off Plymouth is Eddystone. Me. Oh right, it's temporary? How weird. I kinda wish it was permanent. On my video, The Collected Stories by Arthur C. Clarke review, Oron of Montreal says, while Arthur C. Clarke was an RAF lieutenant, he was in charge of the first radar talk-down tests. He and his ground team had to help RAF pilots land safely at night and in rain and fog, all conditions of poor to zero visibility. One of the engineers who helped design and build these British radar systems later had a child called Peter Gabriel, who became as much a legend in his field of music as Clarke was in his own field. Interesting stuff there. Yeah, I know that Arthur C. Clarke was involved in a lot of World War II stuff before he started writing. Eventually GoPro is going to go overheating. On Central Line Hexton Tour, tour bagger Max Piper says, very well done. Hexton Tour is one of the only tours that I couldn't reach on my first attempt. I tried from Great Trousworthy, but encountered that horrid bog and ground, so surrendered and went straight to Hen Tor instead. My second attempt at Hexton was from Blackerton Cross, passing Big Pond, and pretty much the way you came back. There is an obvious grassy path linking Shelltop with Pen Beacon, and from East Rook Gate to Pen Beacon. Be warned, if you're going to visit Rook Tor, you will need to stay quite low down the hill to find the rock split by a tree. It is much lower down the hill than the map would suggest. Ford Rocks isn't too far from Rook Tor. I don't seem to have commented on that, but to which I say, what are Ford Rocks? What are Ford Rocks? I don't know this. Is this another tour? Jesus Christ. Every time I think I'm done. But I think this is Central Line anyway, so hopefully Ford Rocks is a Central Line tour. Yeah, it looks like Max ran into the same bog that I ran into on the way to Hexton Tour. On Crown Hill Broomage Black Elder video, tour bagger Max Piper says, great effort, Tom. This is not the easiest area to explore at this time of year, so top marks to you for finding these places. Crown Hill Tour is another one of these tours that I failed reaching first time because I expected a gate below Broomage Tour, not knowing I'd have to go around by the farm ruins to get in. I agree, Black Elder is a superb tour, well worth a scramble around in winter, and Broomage Tour, well, it's small and scattered as he found out. Me? Yeah, I think I missed the main rock of Broomage, which appears to be in the centre of those gigantiferns. On my review video, Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds #3 musical drama album, Adham Ohm, responds, I feel as though Jeff Wayne has become the George Lucas of musicals. Talented person who struck gold with a really good show, then spent the next 40 years milking its success and tampering with and changing it constantly. At 2540, very good point regarding the artilleryman talking about the tripod so early. It's also a bit of a plot hole because he said that the tripods wiped out his battalion at Horsell Common when they first emerged, and he had been in hiding until he met up with George the next morning. So how did he have the time to run all the way from the Common to Maybury the previous evening to tell George and Carrie about the fighting machines and to evacuate? The stiff mechanical walking sound of the tripods also annoyed me, especially considering how George keeps hammering the point home that they moved and acted like living things more than machines. That being said, it's still pretty good, and I liked that they included more of the characters from the book. That's a very nice comment, thank you. Very in-depth, and I like talking to people about War of the Worlds. It's a great, like, all different things to do with War of the Worlds. My response, yeah, that's true. He's taking a lot less care with what he's got since he started making remixes that sound like dubstep and live shows of War of the Worlds and stuff like this. I always wanted to take his story and make a really careful movie that treads the line between the old musical and the book. But alas, I don't have those kind of resources. But if you look on my channel, you can watch Sightings, my student film. On Showbridge, my video, Tallbagger Max Piper responds, I say Shore as well, sorry. Talking about me and my dad bickering about the pronunciation of Shawbridge or Showbridge, which is S-H-A-U-G-H. I pronounce things weirdly, but isn't the English language wonderful? On my video, my thoughts on Clear and Present Danger review, Mustang D-DW6RE says, actually, just to correct you in your beginning statement about Rainbow Six just being a video game, it was a Tom Clancy novel that takes place in chronology just after Clear and Present Danger movie. The John Clark and Domingo Chavez characters from the Clear and Present Danger movie are the main characters in the Rainbow Six novel, and it's part of the Tom Clancy novels. I respond, oh yeah, it's likely the games I'm familiar with were adapted from the books. My dad's read more of them than I have. But yeah, that's interesting that there is a book of Rainbow Six that follows on from Clear and Present Danger, the movie. On my film The Tudors, Final Scenes, The Horse Dream, Kurt Brumme 7860 says, Da werden Erinnerungen wach. To which I say, thank you for your comment. I don't speak German. I only know a couple of words from Rammstein songs. In my video Fogwalker from Oct 2021, Gina Sigert 1048 says, wouldn't beat walking along the road in the fog. Looks very cool. And spookier. To which I respond, spookier. I think she made a typo or something. I like walking in the fog if I know the location. It's nice. And we got another celebrity-ish comment, another YouTuber, on my video Brat Tour Revisit, Oct 2021. More to see, a great YouTube hiking channel, says, great effort lads, your dad done great getting up post-op. Well done, Adam. Me. Cheers, dude. On my video Merryvale, Stone Rose and Men Here, again, More to See says, those standing stones we left out as I killed Dave on the up from Roos Tor to Gut Miss. Time we got down, he wanted to leave them out and do them when we go back to do Long Ash and Huckentor. That stone row is much longer than I thought. Great headgear, by the way. Adam. My response, that's a big one at Great Mist Tour. I usually hate the track up there, but I imagine it's pretty steep going from Roos. Hucken's pretty good in the woods. You should give the Tavy Cleave and tours a try sometime. Cheers. Yeah, the Ushankers keep your ears warm when the ice winds kick up in January and February, lol. On video, The Tudors, Final Scenes, The Horse Dream. Carol Natrombetta 7818 says, which is the name of the soundtrack Horse Scene? Me. I think the music is a combination of three themes. Henry dreams of death. Henry asks Parliament for unity. and the time of which we have no knowledge. Carolina Trombetta, 7/8/18. Thank you. On my video, The Collected Stories, Arthur C. Clarke review again. Arshad Ali-RP2CN says, Nice review, good sir. I wanted to purchase the Golanx edition paperback. I think the same as you. Can you please tell me how good is the binding? Will it last long, or should I go for hardback by Tor? Also, what is the size of the book? Thank you. Me. Hey, I'm not sure of the exact size dimensions, but you can see me holding it up at 3111. It's a paperback, the one I have, but it has lasted me a long time. Hardback might be too heavy. Depends on how rough you want to be with it. Take the hardback if it's going to be knocked around a lot. Arshad Ali responds, Thank you for the quick reply. I will see both. Most likely, I will choose lighter. On Camping in a Storm Tent Destruction, Willek 1335 responds, Hi, a nice documentary for future tenters, and entertaining, thumbs up. Smiley face. I'm trying to learn. Do you mind explaining where the breaking occurred? Was it in the middle? Do you know if it broke against the wind or the opposite side? Thank you. Me? I read this comment out in my latest stream if you want a talkie answer. I'll answer here, too, if you don't. Wind was blowing from bottom of hill to top of hill direction, I think. I was not at the top, but it came from many directions too. The very top of the Samu tent got sliced by the tent pole when it split. Willek responds, It helps. Thank you. Camera feels hot but isn't complaining. I got 3 comments at the same time at... On my video, Louis Laveau cynically observes the Teletubbies, which is like a meme video. Whoops, where are you going, dudes? Don't look off that direction. Colossal Dirk says, the YouTube algorithm has blessed me with this video. Justice for Joggers 2897 says, I wasn't expecting this, but hot damn is it good. Miva Pusa says, Teletubbies are actually flesh-eating carnivores using the TV on their bellies to attract prey. Thank you for that last comment, that was hilarious. On my video, Grenoven Stack and Noel Wood Tour 1 from April 2022, Torbagger Max Piper says, Blimmin' heck, Tom, you've made this look very easy indeed. I approached from Drake's Trail, just before the tunnel, but that was more in the hope of finding these tours, which we did. It's been nearly 4 years since the Tours of Dartmoor team visited Knollwood, but those unknown tours you found are probably part of Knollwood Tour itself. Distinguishing a tour from a boulder can be challenging at times, but a boulder shouldn't be bedrock, really. I think your dad was impressed with Dewstone. You've inspired me to visit the lower section to gaze up the cliff face. Yes, on East Dartmoor near Lustley, there are higher Knollwood north and south, and Knoll Rocks. Oh right, I did hear something about a tunnel either on Torbagger or TOD, but I think it was related to Puckystone for some reason. I hadn't thought any of it was accessible from Clearbrook direction? Interesting. Yeah, I just says what I sees. I found Rabbit's Tour the other day. Torbagger Max Piper. Ha, Rabbit's Tour. What an anticlimax! Tripping hazard! At least Fox Tour would have compensated for that disappointment. And there's a bit more to that comment, but it is cut off because you have to click a button that says read more to expand a comment. This is a malady of the current age of the internet. The read more ellipsis button has no good fucking reason to exist and must be destroyed. It's never been useful to me, it's always been annoying, and it's always fucking there. It's like sites that don't have the dislike button or takeaway ratings, you know. Anyway, that's why some of these comments are cut off and I can't finish reading them, sorry. On my video, Coffinwood Tor, Torbagger Max Piper says, that uprooted tree definitely threw you, as it did me when watching the video. I recall the terrain at Coffinwood Tor being quite treacherous and, well, precipitous. I think I headed through the gate at the bottom to look up a fine cliff. On the same video, Gina Sigurd 1048 says, very scenic. Don't think I have been on this path, but may have. Favourite video so far. Thank you. Me. Cheers. It's part of the Lich Way at Higher Willsworthy near Lane End. Another lane runs across a field down to the stepping stones, sort of parallel, called Corpse Lane, I think. Gina Siggott responds. The bluebell fields were totally amazing. On my video, The Tudors, Final Scenes, The Horse Dream, Huldur9486 says, in the end, the king doesn't wear the crown anymore, only death does. Which has 58 likes for some reason. I can't account for that. Thank you for your poetic comment. On my video, My Pepper Growing, Part E, Game Over, Dana Cordor responds, I've had a few successful attempts at tomatoes. They need a great deal of water. Outside, but in pots, in a sunny, ideally sheltered area. I was watering heavily every day with tomato food. Every third water once fruit starts appearing. These toms look like they needed more water. Peppers, I'm having a go at this year. They need time to dry between watering, but I'd consider more water much less frequently. Soil mix, I am a noob at too. I respond, cheers lad. Yeah, I felt at some points that I was over-watering. Maybe this is not the case? I may try again next year, but I've seen them growing a lot better in a greenhouse. Also heard fish-based substances, brackets fish bones ground up and other stuff, is a preference for some, and coir/perlite in the soil, but I ideally need more room to experiment. I feel like a small-scale plastic greenhouse might still need to be big for it if the plant gets big, tall at least. As I say, land is not my own, but if they let me put one up, I can try it. Dana Cordor responds, it is pretty crushing when a season of endeavour gets squished, though. I can relate to the disappointment, man. Darg! Thank you. That was my my pepper growing videos, my gardening videos, where I was planting plants and trying to get them to grow indoors. I'll return to that at some point when I have land. Or maybe if I rent a place that has a little garden, I don't know. Depends on landlord rules. On my video, Morad 8 Tour Edition, Brat Tour Black Rock from August 2022. Tour Bagamax Piper, sorry to hear that you're going through a tough time. Dartmoor is perfect medicine, really. Brat Tour is an interesting name and one I tend not to use. In my upcoming book, I write, an infamous example of a tour, though not in the East, that has been afforded a multitude of names is Brat Tour, Bry Tour, Bray Tour, Bra Tour, Brator, Broad Tour, Bray Tour with a Y, etc. Each is a variant of another, and some of these appellations have appeared on OS maps at some time in history. Whilst Broad Tour appeared for a short time between 1884 and 1903, it was soon replaced by Brat Tour in 1905, a name that persists to this day. Hemery, brackets 1983, points out that Bry is given by the Tithes map of 1839, by Besley's map, by Rowe, Page, Crossing, and Spencer maps. Me? Yeah, I call it Brat Tour, Widgery Cross, but I'm aware of Bray Tour, or Widgery Tour, being old names. A lot of these tours derive their name from evolving words. Perhaps your Broad Tour was an early version. Tourbagger Max Piper responds, Bry Tour is my favoured name with an AI. And that's spelling too. Give it a little pause there. On the video, Great Miss Tour / Little Miss Tour, brackets revisit, brackets weasel. Dano Cordor says, at 404, Minotaurs, brackets Surrey, hair and jacket combo looking good, man. Hope the moors and tours are continuing to offer some breathing space after recent events. Me, yes, minor tours equals minotaurs indeed. They're really not giving much of an escape, as it's now not only problems outside the walls of my house, but inside it too, as in family. On Yenadon Down, Tourbagger Max Piper comments, now that's somewhere I haven't been, which is surprising because Max, you've been everywhere. Actually, he told me he hadn't been to parts of... He has been to Exmoor, but he hasn't been to the coast up north west of Exmoor. On Modern Trailer Dirty Harry 5, Cold Truits, May2026 says, it's hard to drive two vehicles at the same time. Me, yeah, I thought that. The villain must have been dexterous as fuck. Coulter, it's a long car chase. When I watched that movie back then, the remote-controlled car had gone through a lot of obstacles while chasing Harry. Some banter about Dirty Harry there, a Clint Eastwood film. On video, what is Farscape? Big Guy 617 says, I love this show. I wish they would bring this show back. I met Gigi Edgley, QAndA, at Comic-Con. Me, I love it, but I think it came to a natural end once they did PK Wars. What I couldn't abide is if they left it at the season 4 ending with Crichton and Airing dying in a boat. I don't think it should have been rebooted or sequeled. I don't think it should be now, though. Good stories must have an end. Big Guy 617 says, yes, but there are some unanswered questions that should be answered. Refuses to elaborate. Tell me what are the unanswered questions? I don't know what they are. There's a future, so there's a future for like Scorpius and such, but I don't know about unanswered questions. I think they kind of were answered. Pretty much everything that needs doing. On hiking the GWR Princetown branch, Janina Palmer 8368 says, I used to live in the Fold. It's shown on your map. It's just down the road from the new 2015. I'm not quite sure what the new 2015 or 2015 is. But yeah, it's interesting. Used to live on that route. Obviously, me doing walks over all of Devon, I'm going to be passing a lot of different places that people recognise. On Louis Laveau cynically observes the Teletubbies. 2 comments. One by Salute Dizio, or Dizio 7893 says gold. And the Clown 3967 says, good God, man, may you be blessed beyond measure for the enjoyment you've given me. Okay, that's cool. That was a meme joke video, but, and I'm not sure I got it very, it was very silly, but I just thought it would be the ultimate contrast, making Louis Laveau's voice comment over like a kid's show, because it, like, he does very, very, well, when he was around, he did very, very adult content, which you wouldn't want to show your kids, so I thought it was hilarious to have him narrating the Teletubbies. On Horbridge Village, June 2022, Barry Gilmore 1460 says, I just came across this. I was born into this village back in the dark ages of 1968. My father was in the army and posted to Plasterdown Camp on Dartmoor. I didn't know there was a military camp on Plasterdown. We stayed there for 2 years, then moved to Ripon and Chell, Germany. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I love this area and have been back many times. Also love to tell my family that I knew Emily from Bagpuss and we went to school together, which isn't exactly true. Love the video. Need to go back again. P.S. Is the Leaping Salmon pub still there? Yeah, they're turning into a cafe right now. I respond, nice, that's a ways back. I just went to primary school there in the 90s. Plasterdown at a military camp back then? Interesting to note. I'm not sure I've seen a pub with that name. Where was it situated? I just had a memory blip when I was saying that. Yeah, I knew the Leaping Salmon's like across the bridge at the bottom. But yeah, they turned it into a cafe. It's still there. I think the name is still in place too. So I don't know why I have a random cut today from nothing that I can remember. And it's annoying me, so I might put a plaster on it. Wow, this is great content. Wow, exciting footage. On my video, the day Misha died, Ness_NessWorld9701 says, I'm sorry you had to go through that. Losing our furry family members isn't easy in the slightest bit. And me, thank you. She really was a different kind of kitten than I had met before in her personality and responses to things. Thanks. And on placeholder video compilation of Misha's life on second channel, Dana Cordor says, ah man, sorry to hear this. out of the blue too, by the looks of it. Stings a lot more when you're blindsided by the loss of a companion. Me, cheers mister. I'm no detective, but it looks like she crossed the road in the fog and an uncareful truck driver hit her, stopped and dumped her. If so, it seems like they should have paid more attention, drove slower and not hid what they did. And the comments cut off. But yeah, you get the gist. I'm not going to go into that right now because it'll bring me down when I need to be up. And I'm going to skip another one like that. On video accomplishments, Torbagger Max Piper says, yesterday I visited 3 more new tours between Dewstone and Cadaver Bridge, so you have another trip to make. Sorry. So he was always finding tours when I thought I'd completed the Western Line, all the West tours of Dartmoor. I'm like, yes, I finally got them all. And he's like, found a tour. So I say, I don't have the means to be travelling to somewhere like that for a long time, I think. This was before I had a car. Only places with access from bus routes or local long walks to my location for now. Yeah, so I was like, I don't know if I can get to that area with my current transport situation. It might have been a time when Dad wasn't driving me for a period as well, so I don't know. Sorry for the glum comment back there. Oh, damn, it's hot. It's hot. Open that window, it's going to be louder now. I need to open a window though, because it's boiling for some reason, and it stopped raining. Stopped raining, good. Boiling, I suppose it's good, but not while I'm trying to make a fucking video, and I'm by a busy road. On vlog accomplishments again, Dano Cordor says, honestly dude, I think your steady productivity on YT and with general creative pursuits is very impressive. Many people gradually ditch most of their creative pursuits for various reasons, brackets, some pretty understandable. Still, I think maintaining some creativity is essential for keeping a sense of who you are. I'm trying to build a regular creative writing habit, and it's taking a lot of effort, as I haven't maintained it. I definitely respect you maintaining that amongst your other achievements. Me, cheers for the comment. It's hard to finish things and see things through to the end, but I like it on the few occasions when I've completed projects, etc. It's like making a website or something. It dies if you don't maintain it every week. I've started so many things I've never completed. Hope your writing goes well. Thumbs up. So yeah, with creative stuff you do have to, with lots of things, you do have to maintain it. You do have to just, and figure out how to finish things. Something I took a long time figuring out how to do, and then at some point in my adulthood I finally started finishing things that I was doing. Like you go, oh, I've got this great idea for a novel, wouldn't it be cool if, and I'm going to start writing this novel, and then like next few days you're like, oh, pan on this, oh, this is such a good idea, I'm going to start writing this novel, and then you just kind of leave it. And I've got a bunch of novels that I have not finished, but that said, I have a couple of novels that I have finished, but you know, they're not released as books, they are like first draft sort of thing, so if I need to release them, then I'd have to go into working out how publishers work and doing like second draft and final draft and all that, and editors and stuff that I, you know, don't presently have time for, and I'm not sure how it works and which publishers would print my book sort of thing and how I would distribute it. So, but yeah, to get to the point where you yourself can finish the things you're doing is a good thing. Anyway, I'll stop talking on that subject. What year are we in? There are 5 years of these. We're 2 years ago. Oh, we've caught up quite a lot actually. On Doe Tour and Black Tour revisits during the 10 tours video, the Dartmoor podcast, which is someone who Max knows, says, your little bird buddies are wheat ears, and another sign that summer is on the way, as they have just arrived from Africa to nest up on Dartmoor. So that's interesting. Oh, I might check that video again. There's a bird in there called a wheat ear. Me? Wheat ears? Thanks, not heard of that one. I guess they're long rangers. The Dartmoor podcast. Yep. Best fact about them is that they were originally called a white arse. But the Victorians were too prude for that, so misheard it as wheat ears. That's kind of like me and Brown Willie, the tour on Bodmin Moor. I'm like, what's that Cornish name? I'm going to use that one. And then Max goes, oh, that actually translates to Hill of the Swallows. And I'm like, no, Brown Willie swallows, no, put them aside, I'll just take the Cornish words. And then he also says, oh, and the second little bird is a pied wagtail. Yeah, I've seen lots of them since. It's raining again while being hot. Don't know how to deal with this. I don't want to turn my car's ignition on so I can get good fans, because then it will be noisy, and if I do it without the ignition I will need to call the AA. Okay, I'm going to get going in a minute because I have a day of stuff to do, but I will get back to this. You've noticed the clothing change already, but I'll read like one or two more. On Little Coombe Tour, full exploration, Deborah Lucas 9519 says, thoroughly enjoyed that, thank you. My ancestors are from Devon and I just crave to be around there. Cheers from Australia. Me? Thanks for your comment. You should visit again and do some hiking. I'm not sure what the hiking's like in Australia. I am now, because I'm watching Church of the Masochist Hikes channel on YouTube, walking the Bibbleman track in Australia. I continue. But on a map, I noticed mountains somewhere in the northeast. Deborah Lucas says, I'm about an hour from Cunningham's Gap. There are great trails up there. Okay, interesting. Not heard of Cunningham's Gap before, and see you in a bit. Let's do a few more. On my video, The Tudors' Final Scenes, The Horse Dream, Ezekiel Prellis says, the narration that Henry is reading is a shortened but marvellous version of Bede's Parable of the Sparrow, written in 731, the ecclesiastical history of the English people. When we compare the present life of man on earth with that time of which we have no knowledge, it seems to me like the swift flight of a single sparrow through a banqueting hall on a winter's day. After a few moments of comfort, he vanishes from sight into the wintry world from which he came. Even so, man appears on earth for a little while, but of what went before his life, or what will follow, we know nothing. Excellent comment. And someone's given him 28 likes, so me. Oh, nice. He was quoting something. I have noticed they did do their research here, and even though it is very fictionalized. And I assume the poem or song that Duke Suffolk reads to the Duke of Surrey is, and it's cut off, but I'm saying, like, I assume that poem is also derived from something real in medieval English history. And Ezekiel Prellis responds again, Marshall's Epigrams, Book 10, Epigram 47. Now, I remember that they do mention Marshall's Epigrams in the show. Yeah, The Tudors is an excellent series to get into. I highly recommend it. Same goes for Farscape, but for very different reasons. On A Shelter Woods, Part 1. So now we're into quite recent videos. Siberian Naturalist says, awesome content, lovely views. Thank you for sharing. Have a great day. Cheers. On Eastern Line Bonehill Rocks video, Torbagger Max Piper says, trust me, East Dartmoor has its fair share of bogs. If anything, they're worse because you don't expect them to be so close to the well-trodden routes. That's something to bear in mind. Yeah, I haven't seen as many bogs on the East Dartmoor, but I suppose I'll run into them. On that same video, he comments again, the fact that you're able to reverse so well down Batteridge Hill says a lot about your instructor and your ability to self-teach. Thanks again, Max. For the clips in the video, I respond, I barely reversed. That hill has been so much worse and seen so much worse times to reverse through, believe me. Yeah, Batteridge Hill is... it's almost like 50-50% chance. Sorry about the rain. Hopefully you can hear me talk. It is raining to the point where I can hear it quite loud. On Modern Trailer Thunderbirds, Rev Yars responds, I remember that episode. It was intense. Alex Marshall 4331 chimes in. Me too, simpler times. Me? Do you remember the Brains dancing episode? Alex Marshall 4331. I do. Remind me of the storyline. Was he cutting a rug to Cliff's backing band? I think he was. That was an episode of Thunderbirds where Brains dances, and it's so ridiculously hilarious considering he's a puppet. On the video Horror-Bridge Village, June 2022, Sean Deacon 2070, cool name, says, came across this while telling the kids about the village I grew up in. Lived here from about the mid-80s to July 1995 when we moved to New Zealand. Lived in Copperfields and then Chapel Close. Yet to go back, so thank you for the memories with this video, mate. And it's excellent to hear comments like that. It's like these are kind of what the videos are for, I think. As well as helping people see places they haven't been, it's also like, I guess, reminding people of places they have been as well. My response, glad you saw something in it. We probably existed there at the same time. I lived there around 1992 to 1995, going to the primary school. On video Exmoor, Dunkerry Beacon, the Trail Strider 909 says, hello my friend, came back for the good content. Keep going. Thank you, Trail Strider. Technical issues. It's tried to load 2 images at once at me, which is baffling. Once again on video Exmoor, Dunkerry Beacon, Farming with Holly 6217 says, nice vid, but parts of Exmoor is in Somerset, like where Dunkerry Beacon is. It's nooked all in Devon. I guess they meant not. I didn't know that, so some of Exmoor isn't even in Devon. Me, that explains the Devon sign I passed on some random road around there. Cheers. On video, walking North Drake's Trail, brackets autumn, October 2020, DTD says, at 2:25, ha ha ha, laughing face. I can't see what that's in reference to because I don't have the video in front of me. And then says, gotta hate signage and all forms of authority as well. So, based D here. Pretty much self-governance and self-ownership for the win. On video Exeter Longstays investigation, Chris Cayley W7U says, I used to visit Exeter as a teenager. Visited the arcade model shop. Mostly got there by hitchhiking from Tiverton. But if driving, we used to park in Mary Archer's Street. Exeter St David's was good for train spotting. That crossing has been there for years. Used to be controlled by a wandering marshal. That's interesting. They used to have men there instead of signs, like a lollipop lady deal. Interesting. And that's some good local history there. I guess people used to hitchhike a lot. That sounds like 1970s times to me. Hitchhiking, people still do it, but it's quite rare now. It's torrential out here. On a video, Louis Laveau cynically observes the Teletubbies. Unit 2394 says, I miss Louis Laveau. Me, he wasn't afraid to use free speech and say le taboo words. Remarkably not gone from YouTube via banning. Just seems to have left due to his life stuff. Unit says, this sent me down a rabbit hole of looking for his stuff elsewhere, like OK BitChute. Wasn't very successful. I think they meant on BitChute. I think that's a typo. Me, he's on a few streams with Sargon and Dankiller that still may be preserved. Seems the only thing on his channel now is his Batman film review. Unit, yeah, I miss his rants about Floyd riots and Ukraine and stuff. On my video, The Western Line, Zone 13, Jim Kingston 5670 says, whoa, slow down there fella. Your content is essentially fine, but you flash through everything far too fast. Allow some peace. This is not intended to be a troll comment. My response, the clips used to make these short documentaries are taken from my larger/longer videos of voyages to each tour. You can find those in my playlist Travelogues, in date order. They're like long-form content, whereas these Western Line episodes are like the super condensed highlights. Here is the playlist, and I give him the link, which you can find in my playlist section. Look for Travelogues. It's got a picture of the cover image is like a Roman building from Bath. I don't know why. I think that's the first one I filmed. Again on the same video, Barefoot Beekeeper replies, the overloud music is an unnecessary distraction, in my opinion. Someone else chimes in called Joint Jib. Yeah, it doesn't need the music, the footage and narration is great though. My response, I'll try and reduce the volume on it next time. I didn't think it was coming across so loud, thanks. Yeah, so I have seen that video again, and yes, the volume of the music I got wrong in that one. It was too high. I am redoing all the Western Line documentaries. I'm keeping the music, but I'm trying to keep it in check so the music is very low, and hopefully it won't drown out the narration from now on. Thanks for telling me. Got some war chat. Some war chat. Wait, where does this begin? Here we go. Some war chat between me and Max Piper on the video vlog Foreign Wars, Culture, Anarchist Nationalism. Tallbagger Max Piper says, who knew I'd agree with much of this? Me. I think you're just placating me, mid-hoot, but thanks for watching the vid all the same. Max. I wouldn't do that. If I disagreed, I'd tell you. Me. What was the main point you found agreement with? Max. Russia/Ukraine. Although I do not in any way condone Putin's invasion, I agree with you that NATO did, in a way, kind of ask for it, as they were not meant to expand into what was once the Warsaw Pact, Soviet allied states, which, since the end of the Cold War in the 90s, has seen almost every country join NATO. Me, while that NATO thing was a part of it, that wasn't actually what I said. Lol. I said that was generally the conservatives or rights perspective on it, while the left's is that Putin was being a colonialist. My perspective was that it was a purposeful tactic by politicians in both Western Europe and China who'd like a global government set up. Max. I consider it a proxy conflict. I wonder if China and Iran are watching on to see how Russia's weapons are faring against USA-supplied weapons. Me, I consider it a proxy conflict too, but probably not in the same way as you. WEF/UN versus world's public. I think Iran's basically another pawn. Apparently North Korean troops just dropped into the Ukraine war too. Either way, it doesn't matter or change the outcome. War talk! Anyway, back to other stuff. The Tudors' final scenes, the horse dream. Helena says, beautiful Jonathan. To which I reply, thank you, Bob. On mixed snow vlogs, Tallbagger Max Piper responds, yes, film crews always have landowner permission to be there, but I do agree that their presence can be obtrusive sometimes. Luckily, it's never for too long and supports the landowner, as well as bringing Dartmoor to the big screen. Me, we do it better. On the video placeholder notice, YouTube censored and banned my death and mortality vlog. Tallbagger Max Piper responds, YouTube censorship is appalling and unfair on creators who put the time into creating videos. Me, yeah, absolutely. At the high end of things, they're censoring history content because it shows the realities of war, and at the low end, they're censoring everyday people vlogging or political commentary that is on the centre or right away from their own views. They can't stop themselves. You can call things misinformation or disinformation all you want, but you should never stop people from talking via coercion or deplatforming. On video Cox Talk Christmas Day 2024, Felix Ruber responds, Merry Christmas! Such a unique view, thanks. Me, Happy Quizzles. On the Cheese Ring Stows Hill Tours video, Kernow Crow UK 192 says, I lived up Minions for 26 years. The village has lost its charm, sadly, but the moors are epic. My back garden for a long time. Thumbs up. Yeah, so that's cool that I'm reaching a lot of people who lived in these places in the past, it seems. That seems to be a recurring theme recently, and a lot of them have the odd little note or anecdote or story about what it was like back then. I quite like those. I do like investigating the past of the places I go to, even if it's just like 1960s to 1980s past. You could go back further, but everything in the memory of living older people is more fresh in their mind and kind of more accurate as well. On the video, Sarton Church Snowdrops, Davey1602 says, sort of reminds me of the Church of St. Peter and St. Paul Coles Hill back in the 1990s. If you've never read Church Going by Philip Larkin, I think you should do so. This is repeated on Minds to give the platform a boost. Funny way for an atheist to spend his Saturday. Yeah, I mean, I like England's history, so I quite like going into churches from time to time and seeing the old artifacts of our, I guess, Christian history, even though I don't believe in the existence of a deity. And I respond, laughing my ass off, yes, I admire the history and architecture of the churches and the space that they allow you to visit and see geographically. I know what the religious use churches for, I just don't use them for that purpose myself. They're still interesting places. Saw you and replied on Minds. There's another video on my channel about Davey. Ha! You can go check that out. On the video, Tudor's final scenes the horse dream. Reem is here 28 says, what the fuck? This is too marvellous. Thanks, Reem. Again, I didn't make it. I didn't make the Tudors. It's nothing to do with me other than I'm providing tribute to it because more people should see it, and it is very well made by the people who did make it. Not me, by the way. I wish I had a hand in it. I wish I was involved in that film production. I am a filmmaker and that is totally the sort of thing I'd love to do. But filmmaking, period pieces, with costumes especially, is the most expensive kind of filmmaking you can do, I think. On the video, Journey to the Core of Dartmoor, Fertile Warren and Cut Hill with Max Piper. Dave Does Hiking responds, and this is the first time I bumped into him, and I met him in real life a few times. He came to where I worked and said hi. Hey, just found your channel and absolutely loved this video. New subscriber, looks like it was quite the journey. Me? Yeah, that was one of my longer walks for sure. Thanks for watching. And Dave runs his own hiking YouTube channel, if you're interested. He keeps using Summit or Nothing's music choices though, and it's really distracting because I keep thinking like, aren't you kind of copying his style a bit too much here? But that's the problem a lot of times with using royalty-free music is, you know, one person starts using it, they get their identity semi-attached to that music, and then because it's royalty-free, like everyone starts using that music after them, and it's like, what's going on here? It dilutes the music's power, and you think they're kind of copying this first guy who used it, and all this sort of thing. On my video, Gutter Tour, Round Hill, and Legis Tour Revisit, Dave Does Hiking says, great video. I've only been to the area once. I did Gutter Tour and Eastern Tour, but the rain and fog made visibility and 50 feet. So it's my first time seeing the views. Was the filmed weekend before last by any chance? I was out then. And the wind, and sorry the message is cut off by read more ellipsis, but my response, good on you for finding Eastern Tour in the fog. Yeah, when I go somewhere in the fog for the first time, e.g. Penny Fan, I usually check videos upon return to see what views I missed. That's another reason to watch my videos, I guess. Did you not see anything because you were in a cloud? Come back and see the same place because I went there on a sunny day. Dave Does Hiking says, yeah, it wasn't easy, already planning to go back in nicer weather. On my video Hail and Godrevi, Dean Koish 1650 says, best just wild camping, more freedom than I've done that down Hail. And I reply, that's a good idea I guess, but I need to find a parking spot near the camp location that is long term and that wouldn't be messed with. Then there's always these sorts of reporty people around every now and then who also want to mess with you. Just requires a bit more planning. On my video, which I've cut off the thumbnail, but it's my video where I went around Postbridge, Central Line Postbridge multi-tour hike, I believe the video is, which was with Max Piper. Dave Does Hiking responds, nice video again. Max's encyclopedic knowledge never ceases to amaze me. He's a well-travelled fella. So, I always get interesting comments on the Tudors, final scenes, the horse dream. And here's another one from Gothic Butterfly 95. Being a mere mortal, I obviously have no knowledge of what exceeds us in the afterlife, whatever that may be. However, I strongly doubt that whatever awaits us on the other side, cares that you are a king, politician, billionaire, noble, Hollywood celebrity, or ruler of the free world, or most powerful nation of your time. If any sense of perfect justice is what is awaiting us there, then I would be hard-pressed to believe that Henry's Judgment Day was anything but pleasant, and is probably still unraveling on him. Me. If you believe in hell, which I don't, then yes, he's probably going to hell. Although he did good things as well as evil things, as every human does. Gothic Butterfly 95? I'm sure he did. Unfortunately, he caused more pain than anything, not just to his people and those who were loyal to him, but his children as well. I don't necessarily believe in hell. I feel like the concept we know it as is more of our way of making sense of whatever is waiting in the next realm. While I believe some sort of karmic force or judicial higher power exists, though, I'm not very confident that our grasp on or portrayal of it is accurate. This is this is a little bit wordy, but this is a very intelligent person, I think. And another person chimes in the same conversation. Ariel Goldfarb 4118 says, "Hell does not exist, only heaven or the afterlife. There is no hell even for the worst kind of people that ever existed. It's hard to understand, but that's what it is. Life on Earth is just a role game." So, interesting perspectives there. But I like chats about, I guess you call it existentialism. I like chats about people trying to work out, you know, what is death? What is life and what is death and birth? What is all that about? Interesting stuff. I'm going to pause my Q&A here and resume at a later time. But for you in this video, it will be in 1 second. QAndA continued. On the video Postbridge Multi-Tour Bagging, Colin Ratcliffe 3074 responds, "It would be awesome if you occasionally showed a map with your location/route. Me, oh sorry, I do that quite often, but I guess I neglected to with this one in a big way. I think there's a little map at the start, briefly as I meet Max, that you can pause on. It's at timecode 120. And right as I start doing this, some fucking kid starts screeching when it had been quiet for an hour. Colin Ratcliffe responds again, "Thanks for your positive reply. 40 to 50 years ago, I was an avid Dartmoor letterboxer with more than 200 finds. Is letterboxing still a thing? I recognised much of your video. Maps would have really helped me confirm my memory. Thank you for your wonderful video." My response to that, people still do it, yeah. I've only written in once or twice, but the lunchboxes with books and paper are on most tours. On my video Bigbury-on-Sea and Berg Island, 70s Boy 98 says, "In my top favourite places in the UK, if I was to win the lottery, I would buy the hotel on the island, brackets, £14 million, I think that says. Although it's got dots instead of commas, I think. Me, bloody expensive. I don't see how most of us would even get something far smaller than that." On my video Hen Tour, GL5301 responds, "Made it myself there today, with my greyhound too. The entire stretch from Trousworthy to Hen to was just one massive, never-ending bog. Even the animal trails were just bog. It was worth it when I got there, though. Cross of yet another South Moor tour." And me? Good job. Yeah, best done after a dry period of a couple days, I think. Though I'd probably say that about anywhere on Dartmoor. Nice long walk for the dog, though. That bog that cut me off must have been tougher to find a way through. On my video Bristol, Ruined by Socialism, Seagulls, July 2025, Werlowski 2137, who is probably a commie, says, "Definitely socialism did this," which I assume to be sarcastic. Me, absolutely. On my video Wheel Betsy, Is It On Fire? Lionheart NH says, "That bird you saw is probably a male stone chat. Also, where I live on the southern moor, I believe we have a colony of natterjack toads. Even though they are not shown on distribution maps I've seen as living here, Dartmoor is a magical place indeed. Me? Oh nice, thank you. I'm getting into trying to identify the birds and associate them with their calls for myself in recent years. Stone chat, huh? On the Western Line, Zone 3, V2, Dave Does Hiking says, another great and informative video, mate, thank you. Me? No worries, mister. I hope these help inspire some routes when I get them all out. There's probably still multiple unknown routes to each thing, I'm just trying to provide the easiest. On my video, ANCAP reacts, US Gov and Israel Gov go to war with Iranian Gov. Torbagger Max Piper says, yep, I agree with you on most of this. My response, there are almost no war-based things that libertarians and anarchists are happy with, except for armed self-defense by the people against tyrants. We generally do not want any foreign wars to happen at all.
But what I can tell is, we do not want harm for anyone. We want everyone to live peacefully amongst each other. And we want people to have the freedom of speech, the right to bear arms. And if that's too politically extreme for you, fuck yourself.
On my video, Pintor, Butterden Hill 1, Ashtor, Catiscum Rocks. Gur MM6467 says, I was brought up on and around Dartmoor. Been living in the West Midlands for nearly 40 years now. Really enjoying these vids. Thanks so much for making them. Love the humour too. All the best. Me? Oh, thank you very much. I spent some of my younger years living in Great Malvern, if that's near. However, I was brought up in Cyprus. On the video, Bridestow Avenue of Trees to Granite Way. Old Elephant Stew says, Granite Way follows the track bed of the railway with just a short diversion to get around privately owned Bridestow Station. Me? Oh, I see. Thank you. I suppose it was formed that way after 1968 and the route changed slightly in some places. Obviously, after Meldon Viaduct, coming in towards Oakhampton, the foot/cycle path can no longer be where the trains went. On my latest wild camping video, which is Culliver Steps and Scarator, Gur MM6467 again says, stunning location. I'd ask for what 3 words, but knowing my luck, I'd pitch my tent right on top of your trench. Hope to see lots more wild camping on the channel as the weather improves. Yeah, maybe. I was thinking about wild camping last night actually. I don't have my gear on me today, but today would be a good one because I think the evening would be warm. But didn't bring my tent. My response here though is, nah, that's out of the way. It didn't get used in the end. Always good to have though. I don't know what a what 3 words is. Sounds like some sort of mobile app. Navigation there is pretty easy. Gur responds again. What 3 words is pretty handy. It pinpoints your location. A lot of the van life YouTubers use it to mark free O/N park-ups in Europe. The emergency services use it too. Having said that, it makes it a bit too easy for us city dwellers to find these spots. That's the last thing you want. Me again. Oh, I see. I'm rather averse to even letting my phone ever turn on GPS or know my location formally, even though I know it tries to track us anyway. And then this is cut off, but as long as people aren't littering and purposefully running into people's, I think it says property, it's fine by me, but there's like a read more cut off there, unfortunately. I think that's what I was saying. On my video, the collected stories Arthur C. Clarke review, Pookie 1966 says, I'm making my way through them via the collected audio volumes. Excellent recap. So that's quite a ways back I did that, but a good Bible full of short stories by Arthur C. Clarke that I reviewed. My response, nice. I hadn't thought audiobooks had been made of Clarke stories. They are very good. Also, it's worth noting, today I met a Sri Lankan guy in the post office, and Arthur C. Clarke, while not being Sri Lankan himself, he wrote a lot of his stories while living in Sri Lanka. On my video, standards, ugliness, overpopulation, nationalism, localism. More to see. The hiking YouTuber says, can't stand crowds. Why Dartmoor is my therapy. All the best, Adam. My response, thanks dude, love your videos. I agree with you on that. Crowds and large groups often create bad behaviours in humans. On my video, more rant 13, tailed feature becomes a scrumping socialist. It's cut off a little bit. Jesus Fried Christ, who's a bit of an internet celebrity, is critical of my video, saying, are you sure he wasn't joking? As far as I've known Tailed for years, and as far as I was one of the most active people in the live chat and in his Discord server, I'm pretty sure that sounds like something he would have said in jest, and you took it seriously. Tailed is not a leftist, I can assure you. Laughing face. Me, I'm pretty sure he was telling an actual anecdote of something he did. Sadly, Regvar, that's the Regional Variations podcast, which Tailed has deleted unfortunately, has gone down, and I don't know if I clipped it, but even Harrion was like, what the fuck? P.S. Your reputation precedes you. Jesus Fried Christ. On my video, ANCAP reacts to Nick Fuentes versus Tucker Carlson interview, which was full of fucking ads and a nightmare to try and get through. Mattis Master Race 9774. Someone doing something different for once. Cool. Glad I tuned it. I think he means tuned in. I'm glad you liked it. It was hard to get through. I wish it was just me responding to the interview itself without thousands of ads bombarding me to interfere with the whole process. On my video, The Tudors, Final Scenes, The Horse Dream, Sakinga-S6Y says 1% message to 99% incompetent failures in limitless fourth dimensional time. To which I respond, wow dude. That's an interesting but crazy poetic comment. Thank you for commenting. Also on The Tudors, Final Scenes, The Horse Dream, Blue Blood says, whatever is said about Henry VIII, the fact is that he was one of the most consequential monarchs in English history. This adaptation of his story, while fraught with deliberate historical inaccuracies, brackets for dramatical purposes no doubt, nevertheless did an excellent job of humanizing the normally sterile historical figure. I found it interesting that in his final hour, no singing cherubs and heavenly beams of light appear, but rather the angel of death, come to usher the king onto the next world, wearing a crown, wielding a sword, and riding a royal stallion befitting someone of Henry's stature, and, alas, putting the final seal on the universal truth that even monarchs are made of clay. That last bit might be a reference to something. That was a very good comment. Yeah, my response, pretty decent comment. Cheers. Yeah, that's... I probably should have said more in response to that. He said quite a lot of stuff. Yeah, I guess Henry VIII is an interesting figure. I mean, from my standpoint as an anarchist, fuck monarchy, fuck, like, kings and rulers and dictators and queens even though I have some historical interest in people like Queen Victoria. Overall, what you're talking about is like a ruler or a slave master, and it's not really good. Talking about it in terms of like just enjoying history from a historical perspective, as someone looking back and trying to make sense of it all with what tiny knowledge we have. And check out my history video. It tells you all about how we can't really believe what we hear. A lot of it's revisionism, a lot of it's like, how do you tell the truth if you weren't even there at the time, sort of thing. I mean, I still enjoy looking into history, and even if you're talking about seeing things from the government's perspective, I mean, that's what it is every time you look at something like war, I think, is seeing things from the government's perspective, unless you're looking at people on the home front or conscientious objectives and draft evaders. It's very difficult to see that sort of history through the lens of a normal average person who is detached from government. But yeah, I mean, having Henry VIII painted as an angel when he dies versus having Henry VIII painted as some sort of demon when he dies, you could go either way, really. I lean more towards demon, but not in the way other people do. Because I think if a leftist looked at Henry VIII, they'd be angry at him because, like, feminism, because, oh, how could you be so mean to your wives, and how could you treat women this way? It's like, that's kind of surface stuff, skipping all the other stuff that happened. Then again, you could possibly say that Henry VIII may have done some good things in his time, such as translating the Bible into English, such as detaching from the Pope's rule. I mean, you're not going to say it's anarchist, but you say it's kind of a move more towards localism than global dominance, is to make the Church of England rather than the world ruled by the Pope. It's you're kind of detaching your nation from a larger government in a way. But I mean, you are a government yourself, and tyrannical and evil things happen under your rule, so yeah, it's interesting. On my video, Horror Bridge Back Alley Hikes Part 2, Whitchurch Shortridge, Gur, who was there earlier, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, dude. I'm just kind of pronouncing it how I see it on the screen, which is GUHHMM6467. Looks like Gur MM. Says, looks a great walk, cracking views. Nice to see you enjoying and taking in every part of it, as I would if I were there. The close-ups of the flowers, first leaves growing in the trees, the pure Devonshire countryside. Brackets, I'm sure the grass is greener there. The missus and I are sat watching the series, enjoying every scene. Thanks, thumbs up. So this was a really nice comment to receive at the time, so thanks, dude. I was probably going for a bad day as well, and saw your comment coming through YouTube, and I don't actually get that many comments. I wish I got comments on every video like other people do, but you know, at least I get views and sometimes I get likes. It's not my kind of thing. I prefer the comments, but you know, it's something, right? It's just something that signifies at least a small number of people are watching the videos I put out. But yeah, thank you for that. I do try and show the seasonal stuff coming through in my videos, and show people a walk that they might like to be on, or remember being on from when they lived in these places. Got people trawling around behind me. My response, comment-wise, was, thanks, mister. Yep, spring is short-lived, so I absorb as much of the sights of new plant/animals coming out as I can. On the same video, a comment by Max, at Tallbagger Max Piper. Excellent video. This is a very delightful footpath to walk, and you've shown it at its best. I think the short section at Boyton follows the road to the farm, hence why that nearby gate was tied shut. The walk from Jordan Lane to Sanford Spiney is nice. I look forward to that. And I have released that video after this one. My response, thankies. Part 3, brackets Monkswell, coming in a few videos time. That is out now if you want to watch it. Might be the best. Oh wait, was I meant to be on the track to the houses near Boyton? Confused, I'll restudy the map. I think he's saying maybe a footpath got rerouted somewhere on that trip, and it wasn't obvious that it had happened, like signposted or whatever. And a last comment on one of my Tude posting, my little highlights tributes from the Tudors, which I might delete at some point. I'm just going through and I'm kind of posting abridged fucking episodes from the series. I'm sure the makers are not pleased at that, but hey, I'm giving them, I'm getting people to go and watch your media, dudes. It's free advertising, I guess. Fucking car alarm is going off. Alright, while this car, oh okay, I think it's stopped. This is the last one for this part of the Q&A. On Tude posting Tudor's S2E8 video, Hippie Chick 2112 says, I forgot all about the drama and excitement of this show. Thank you for sharing. My response, one of my favourite shows, aside from Farscape. No show can be accurate historically, of course, but as a story-driven world based in medieval England, it has tons of deep atmosphere and intrigue. I love it, and that's why I'm posting clips from the Tudors right now. Also, it's very English, I think, which need to push more English stuff out there. Whether it's War of the Worlds, James Bond, Sherlock Holmes, the Tudors. My hay fever's gonna kick off soon. Okay guys, that was the bulk of my Q&A video. Part 1, I'm gonna say. This video took place in several different locations on several different days. I just literally screenshotted my comments from 5 years ago up to now and went through them with you, along with some spontaneous responses, but mostly me reading my responses at the time in my own voice for you. And I don't know, I'm going to put this out there, I don't know what sort of response I'll get, but please comment under this video to talk to me, to tell me what you like about my channel, what kinds of videos I do that you prefer watching, whether it be gaming videos, hiking videos, camping videos, political videos, the topic vlogs, the film clip highlights and trailers, my reviews, or my audiobooks, which I'm very proud of doing. Nearest thing to proper work I feel like I'm doing for the channel. Yeah, so please comment below and I will do a part 2 Q&A video where if you have commented under this video, I will respond to your comments. I prefer getting comments. I mean, you can leave me a like if you want, you can subscribe and watch my videos if you want. I don't normally like doing that kind of like, comment, subscribe thing, but I suppose that's what I'm saying here technically. But especially, please comment. It's nice to have a conversation about the things I talk about. I don't really get much in terms of feedback and stuff. There's many purposes that people upload YouTube videos. I think one big one is like people want to make money from their content. I don't generally do that. I'm here for self-expression, and I'm also here to make friends. I'm trying to meet people through my YouTube channel, like-minded people who I can talk to. If you have something to say about my channel, or would like to tell me what my best direction is out of all the different videos I do, you will sway me somewhat by telling me that. I won't go 100% in that direction, but you'll nudge me towards that direction, let's say. And yeah, thank you for watching this Q&A. Catch you later guys. 20 years on YouTube. Bye.